Okay, here we have the Bessport one-person tent. It is 4.4 pounds. Not too bad a size, not too bad a weight. Okay, here we have the Bessport two-person tent. Now, this is 5.2 pounds, and honestly, it feels significantly heavier. It is significantly wider, and it's less than a pound, but you will feel the difference. First of all, welcome to the channel, and thank you for stopping by. When time permits, please consider subscribing. I would greatly appreciate it. Today, we're here to take a look at the tent ADV Matt recommended, which is the Bessport two-person tent, and compare it to the one I actually purchased, the Bessport one-person tent. There's a bit of a difference. Let's see how they look put together. Okay, here we have the Bessport one-person tent. This is what I plan to take on my next trip with me. It is slightly larger than my Lynx tent, and I feel incredibly spacious for someone 5'10", 190, 195 pounds. But this right here is the tent that ADV Matt originally recommended. This is the Bessport Basic two-person tent. And it is significantly larger. Hope you can get a good view and a good comparison there. It is a big tent. I am quite surprised at how big it is. Now, just in case you didn't see my comparison between the one-person tent and my Lynx, we'll go over basically the build quality of the tent, which is exceptionally good, especially given the price. We have nice aluminum poles. We have incredibly durable plastic snaps. These are not the highest quality zippers I've ever seen, but they are quite good. I have no problem even with one hand operating the zippers. As I mentioned on the other one, I wish there was something that held these together, but there is no problem picking up and moving this tent as needed. The tent comes with excellent stakes for staking it down. It comes with guidelines. I don't think either of those are going to be necessary. If you put a 175, 200 pound man in here, plus his gear, it's going to take an awful lot to move this tent. And if the weather is blowing at you that hard, you should probably pack up the tent and get out of town. All right. Well, didn't take long for him to find this. Hey, buddy, I'm trying to film here. Let's go ahead and throw on the rainfly. Now, as you can see, with the rainfly on, there is no getting around that this is a massive tent. You are going to need quite a bit of space if you plan to put this down. I hope there aren't too many people with tents this large in your group. Now, this is a heavy material. They sell this as a 4-season tent. And while I don't believe that is the case, you are certainly going to need to open up both sides and both of these vents, which, as you can see, have quite a bit of space, if you don't want to melt in here. This is not going to be the optimal tent for a very hot summer day. Now, let's go inside and see exactly how massive this is. I haven't sat in it yet, but compared to that, it's massive. Okay, it is massive in here. I mean, it is just bonkers. If I put my feet down at the bottom, I can reach my arm. I'm 5'10". I can almost perfectly extend my arm. That's how much room is in here. If you're 7 feet tall, this tent will work for you. Give you an idea from the corner. I mean, it's just absolutely massive in here. Now, this is a fairly basic tent. There's not very many storage spaces. You really only have one option, which is this little bag here. And there are no other mounting points for it, which means if you do use the little pouch, that means you're not going to be able to use the light hook. But again, this tent is an entry-level tent price-wise, but the materials it's made of is well above entry-level. I can tell you already, it's warm in here. It is about 80 degrees outside, and the tent's been set up for about a half hour. And sitting inside of here, it's about 90 degrees. I don't have everything opened up, but it's certainly hot in here. There are decent vents and quite a bit of room here. This can all be opened up. We could open up both sides. I haven't gone and done that because this is just a first look at the tent. However, I do think this would be an ideal tent for most seasons. I think if you close this up, it's going to be great in the spring. It's going to be amazing in the fall. And honestly, I think to sleep in, if you open everything up, open the vents, it's probably going to be halfway decent. ADV Matt uses this tent. No complaints that I've heard from him. So it's probably a great choice for a 3-season tent. And at its price, I don't know how you're going to do better. This tent is $80. Add in $20 for a liner, that's $100 for an enormous tent. You could fit 2 people and all of their motorcycle gear in here. No problem whatsoever. I mean, I could definitely throw all of my gear at the bottom and never touch it with my toes. This thing is enormous. Holy shoot. All right, I gotta get out of this heat though. Before I get out of the heat, I sold the tent a little shorter than I should have. I wasn't paying attention, but take a look at this. All 4 corners have pockets. So I was wrong. You do not need to choose between having a pocket and having a light dangling. Unbelievable. I can't stop saying the price. It's an $80 tent. This is bizarre. All right, now we're going to get out of the heat. All right, so there's my first look at the Bessport 2-person tent. It is enormous, but it's incredibly well made. And on top of that, it's incredibly inexpensive. Personally, I think that the build quality is exactly the same on the 1-person tent, and that is, I'd call a 1.5-person tent. This 2-person tent, you can fit 3 people in there. If it is you and your pillion, and you've both got gear, it's all going to fit in there with you. This tent is enormous. And I honestly don't think that you could need a larger tent. I mean, unless you're carrying a trailer, I don't know where you'd put more than what 2 people could fit in this tent. So let's wrap it up and get out of here. Well, if you stuck around, I greatly appreciate it, and take care.